Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and this is part 4 of Written in Ink. This is a free 8-part journal making series that tells the story of a writer who is experiencing a serious case of writer's block and has a deadline approaching. Their mentor reaches out with a little assistance, and that is when the magic happens. This is a free project series that is going out to my email list, so every Friday I'm sending you a new part of the story and guiding you through building the interactive journal pages. If you're not on the email list and you'd like to join us, just use the link in the description down below to sign up and get parts 1 through 4 sent to you immediately. Supplies today are really the same as the last few weeks. You'll need a liquid glue with a fine point. I like Beacon Fabri-Tac. You can also use a glue stick. I prefer Oohoo for my glue stick. You'll need a pair of scissors to cut everything out. And as an optional finishing touch, I'm using vintage photo distress ink around the edges of everything. You can do this if you want to, but it's not mandatory. Today, I have used it on everything here except for these 2 pieces, which we'll be tearing the edges of. So I'm going to put the ink on those after I've torn the edges. For paper, I print on 110-pound cardstock and 32-pound paper. The pages that I provide you do have a note on them as to whether I recommend cardstock or paper for printing them out. I also leave you instructions for if the reverse side of something needs printed. The only one that I really strongly recommend is this page here. There is a paper pattern included. So print the page with these 2 panels on it on the reverse side with the provided paper. You also have the option to print the page with these little pieces, these tags, so that they're finished on the back side, as well as the paper page that has our journal entry on it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move everything out of the way except for these 2 panels here with the waves at the top, as well as this panel here with the double image, and there is a top strip on that as well. These are going to create the waterfall panel inside of our journal. So I'm just going to open my journal and flip to the next empty page and put that to the side. And then I'm going to grab my waterfall panels. These 2 need to be creased along this line. I like to crease them back and forth about 4 to 6 times to make sure they're moving freely, because this is an item we want to flip up and down. So this will be a hinge. And then the same thing for this spot here. You're going to want to go right along that line, crease it back and forth about 4 to 6 times. And then I've put some distress ink on the back of this just to make sure that if some of that pokes out, that it's not going to be a stark white. It's finished inside. Once you have this top hinge done, we're going to go ahead and fold this in half on this line, and you just want to fold it up to your hinge line. So just in case your folds are slightly off, if this extends past there, if you are folding this over and you have a extension, you're going to need to trim that off, or else when we go to flip this up, it's going to catch. It's going to be not smooth whenever you try to lift the waterfall panel. So just fold that up, fold this down, and make sure it's not extending. And there is a line right here for you to fold on. Once you have everything folded, I'm going to go ahead and glue these back to back. So between our hinge at the top, I'm just going to put a good amount of glue on here. You can use your glue stick. And I'm just going to use my bone folder I have on hand to smooth this out. You can use your hand or a ruler or something similar. And I've got some glue sticking out here, so I'm going to clean that up. So now I have my first panel for my waterfall, and then my 2 others are ready to go on under it. So let's place the first one. We're going to place this centered on the page, this left-hand page, and we're going to bring it almost all the way to the top. I'm going to leave just a little tiny strip of that background paper visible. And again, you could use a glue stick if you like. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac, and I'm gluing all along this tab here. And I'm just going to place this in just below the top, centered up, and try to make sure it's straight. Use the edge as a visual guide to get as straight as you can, because you add more panels in, and if it's crooked, it'll just kind of keep going to one side. You might need to let that dry for a moment and then flip it up. I'm going to grab another panel. These are interchangeable. They're both the same, and we're going to glue it in right below the first one. So just gluing on this tab here. The rest of it's going to be free moving, so just the tab, that piece there. I'm going to put this in just below and then flip this down and check and make sure it's lining up pretty well. It doesn't have to be perfect. Perfection is not the name of the game, but we like things to look nice. I'm going to fold that up. I'm going to get my next one. I'm going to glue that in right below as well. So again, we're gluing right along that tab. And we're going to put it in with just a little space between the panel above it and this one. And then I'm going to check and make sure things are looking pretty straight, give it an adjustment, and then I'm going to let this dry really well before I move on to the next step. Next, we're going to grab these two little storytelling strips, and I'm going to tear these around the edges just to add some texture to my project. So the first one, I'm going to go with the little beachside cottage sat just beyond the dunes, its sun-bleached shutters rattling softly in the breeze. And I'm going to tear around this. I'm trying to create some texture through this project. There we go, so all the way around. And then I'm going to grab my distress ink and just go around the edges of this. So this is going to embellish our first pocket, and I want it to poke out of the bottom. So I'm going to position it right about here in the center. I'm just going to put a little glue on this and place it right here, like so. The next one is going to go similarly down here. So I'm just going to tear around the edges. And give that a little bit of distress ink. And same thing, I want it to poke out at the bottom. And I'm going to glue it on right like so. Next, I'd like to create one more reveal. So I'm going to flip all of these up. Again, make sure everything is really dry before you do this. And let's grab this piece here with the books. Now, this is a little large, so we're going to have to tear this down as well. And this is just kind of a little like surprise whenever you flip all of them up, just to kind of finish off the storytelling aspect. So I'm going to flip these all up. And I'm going to do the same thing as I've done with my little word pieces. I'm going to kind of make this fit the space. Right, like that. So again, just bringing a little texture and interest in. I guess I missed that side there, didn't I? Got a little tear along there. And you can add other things to this space. So if you want to do something else, if you have your own ideas, this is a good place for that. You can also go through and decorate the backs of these flips with things. If you have something on hand, some kind of beach or ocean themed stickers or scrapbook paper or anything like that. This is a great place to add them. Even clippings from magazines. Again, I like to encourage some creativity. So I'm just gonna swoosh some glue on there. You might want to glue yours down a little better. It's up to you. And then I want that to kind of peek out at the bottom. Like that. So the last thing we have to do is fill up our pockets, and this first pocket is going to get the little beachside hideaway along with this message in a bottle. And then I'm also going to put my journal entry in there. I'm going to fold this in half. I want to put that right in behind. We want to discover it as we go through the journal. If you're sharing this with your children or your grandchildren, then that's something they can discover the next part of the story as they flip through it. And then this one is just a pocket full of seashells. and this sand dollar, which I guess technically is not a seashell. So, and that is it for the fourth installment of Written in Ink. I hope you're still enjoying this project. I hope you're enjoying the story and the perhaps slight predicament that our main character has gotten themselves into. If you're just watching this for fun, please sign up, get this free project series, craft along with us, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.